What fabric of material does Super Mario wear? Denim, denim, denim.
Podcast.
There you go.
Amazing.
There you go.
Amazing.
Should have never done the music. Should have just done comedy instead.
I have an observational one I'll tell later. I have a really good observational. It's like
Okay,
it's
I'll
like
remind you.
two-
Let me write
like-
down a joke to.
What's the deal with airplanes?
Yeah. What's that?
Okay, so people won't be able to like see us at home, but it's like white people they drive like this, and black people they drive like this. I'm doing really good visuals. You can't see it at home, but
Well, look, you can. This is on YouTube. This is.
oh yeah,
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. I actually
Well,
forget.
in that case.
I forget to tell people that as well, and then they're always like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Oh, is that okay?"
it's fine.
That's why I look so good. That's why I'm looking like Baby Spice. That's why I got the.
Space
Just-
One's rocking it.
Hello and welcome back to the podcast, the show where I have a new guest on each week. Thank you very much to Ryan Carrick, who joined me for his monthly checkup, and I'm delighted to be joined actually by my first music act.
Oh,
My first
debut music.
duo.
We'd love to
Yeah,
see it.
yeah, for the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tebi Rex. Tebi Rex, or Matt and Max. How are you?
Doing well, man. Living the life.
Great, swell.
That was such a polite. That was like it was an interview of some sort. Yeah, great, thanks. Yes, swell, absolutely. swell.
So what we gotta do is we gotta draw people into thinking this is normal, and then it'll get crazy midway through. We're just luring people into a false sense of security right now.
So please make sure to follow, subscribe, wherever you get your podcasts, because that is. Lads, look, how are you getting on? You are, of course, a hip hop Irish duo. And I guess I want to start by how did you meet? How did the music duo come together?
I got
Also,
this, got
actually,
this.
before you tell me that story, Matt, I don't know, you've described your musical act as best interracial rap duo in Kildare.
At least, and there's some good ones.
Look, you're really selling yourself short there, no? By like narrowing it down.
No, man, there's some people creeping up on the ladder there in Kildare.
You want to be able to say at least absolutely you're the best at something, you know, like look, can I convincingly say I'm better than Kojak? I mean, probably not, but you know, I don't know, maybe I can say I'm the best interracial hip hop duo in Kildare. There's exactly two. We're the better of the two. So
with asthma.
it is what it is.
Both have asthma.
Yeah, we got asthma, so
We're high up on that vaccination
With
list.
asthma, size 10 shoes, who also
Yeah.
love to wear denim jeans. I
Yeah,
mean,
size
the genre's massive, but we're number one in that, to be fair.
exactly, man. A W is a W. Then you know, it doesn't matter the parameter.
So, guys, talk to me. How did you first meet? How did the kind of duo come together? For people who don't know, I've heard this, I've heard the stories, I've heard the rumors. I know what's happened, but I mean, for those who are listening who mightn't know you, what's the history?
It was Tinder. It was we were in
It was Grinder.
yeah. We were in Maynooth. We're both Maynooth boys, both big society men as well. I was in Coolot na Gaeilge, you were in Lytton Deb. And there's like an inter-society talent show type of thing called Eurovision. The Music Society run it. And basically in societies Maynooth, you get points for partaking in things, and like you're building up points for your society. Kind of like what goes on in Hogwarts, I suppose. But there was a talent show and we both entered. One of us won. One of us came second. The white person won. Lo and behold, straight white man for the win.
Yeah, man.
And then
The privilege is real. The privilege.
this is it. This is, we all know what's happening.
You knew what it was. You were supposed to do one song and you did like a medley for 7 minutes. So I mean, I don't know how that's fair to the rules of the game, but whatever.
It's not what.
We roll with it. And then a few weeks later, Max had put up a status on Facebook and was like, anyone want to make a band? I want to make music similar to Kate Nash, Childish Gambino, Chance the Rapper, NERD, all these kind of groups. And I was like, that's really what I'm into at the moment. And I was making music at the time, more like indie, typical kind of white boy with guitar stuff. And then I was like, I don't know why I just don't make music that I like listening to. And then we met up. I didn't know it was an audition. Max had actually met several other artists as well and was like,
Audition people.
this guy, not because he's the best, because he's the most interesting. And that was why I got the gig. And we've been in a band ever since.
Yeah.
Be sure it wasn't because you beat him in the talent show and keep your friends close but your enemies closer type of thing. And he's like, this guy.
I've been waiting for my chance to stab him in the back and run away. Just biding my time. Waiting soon, you know.
If you did fake my death, we do have rules that if one of us dies, the other person's fully entitled to cash in.
Yeah, you have to cash in.
Oh,
on
you
the
have
death.
to cash
Yeah.
in. You have to cash in.
Yeah, I'd be like, Daffy really would have wanted this song to win the Choice Award, and you're spit on his grave if you don't give this to him. And that's what he told me just before he died. So
It's kind of like,
also
I
more
always
important.
wonder, well, what would happen if one of the Gallagher brothers die? Like, which, because they have such a feud. Will
Oh
no let Liam,
I
will
yeah.
hope
no
it's
let
him,
Liam
right?
cash in, or is it going to be what is it?
He's like, I hope it's
What?
Liam.
Huh? Sorry, what? Yeah, I hope they're doing well. I love those guys.
Yeah. I think they wouldn't give a fuck anyway.
Well, yeah, true. But
What?
I want, what were you studying in college before you
Ooh, Irish and geography.
I was doing law and English.
Irish and geography?
Mm. I was going to be a weatherman on TG Car was the plan, and it flopped. I didn't even do
You've just
geography in secondary school. I was like, I did. Funnily enough, I did Irish and music, and then music was really hard, and I wasn't that good at it. So I left music, and then now I'm in a band making money off music. So I don't know.
There
did
you
you
go.
tell
find
me.
did you find music hard in school?
In school, it was great. In college, it's a different kettle of fish.
Oh,
College,
sorry, you're talking about
Disgusting.
college.
it was like everyone's a fucking piano master and knows how to do everything, and I'm like writing down everything second thing the person says in front of me.
Yeah, but I mean, all those people, it's like all those people who go to BIM and get their little music degree, but their careers are shit. It's like you can't pay for talent, mate. Sorry to tell you, you can't music theory your way into a successful career. Suck my dick. How about that?
You don't teach creativity. But I was like, when did we get to do anything other than classical music? And they were like, oh, in third year we do jazz. And I was like, "Ah, no, I'm done. I'm so spent. After a month of that, I was like, what else can I do? They're like business or geography. I'm like, geography.
Such a change. Well, it didn't, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Dermot Kennedy do music in Maynooth?
Oh, I think so.
So here's the thing about Dermot Kennedy. I'll tell you now. I'll give you a little spice about this guy. This fella's trying to steal my whole sauce. First of all, went to the same secondary school as me in Racool, right? So I'm up praised as the most, successful graduate from
In
there.
your school, yeah.
Because he's just above me, because he obviously went there. Not by much. So me and him are definitely in the same league category for sure. Like, and then he goes to Minute the fucker. And now we're not the biggest musicians in Minute because he went there. So we're now trailing behind him because we would have been the biggest success story. And then this motherfucker Dermot Kennedy's everywhere I look.
He's not on the podcast though.
That's
He's
exactly
not. He's
it.
not on the podcast. I actually, fun fact in terms of, I think it was like 2 years ago. 2 years ago at C Sessions, I got like everyone who comes on the podcast gets a mug, such as yourselves will get. Which as egotistical as it is, it has just my face on it. But at the very start, when I first started doing the podcast, people who came on the show would get like a mug with their face as well as mine. That proved to be incredibly expensive, especially when you're not making money and you're actually spending it on the podcast as it is. I realized I had to kind of rethink my financial circumstance, but I got one with with Dermot Kennedy on it because I was working backstage at, I think it was C Sessions. So I knew I'd be able to, I might have a chance of coming around. And I was like, even if I give him the mug, or like I had like my little portable mic there, I might be able to ask him a few questions. And on the first night we were drinking, and no one, I didn't have anything to mix my drinks with. So I was just walking around C Sessions all night with this like podcast mug with Dermot Kennedy. And I don't know where it went. Some girl somewhere now has a mug that she found at C Sessions that just says the podcast with Dermot Kennedy.
That's so. If she did her research as well, she's like, Dermot Kennedy wasn't on it. Like,
Guy's a phone.
this is crazy. He's obsessed with him.
Let's talk about like the early stages in your kind of music career. What was it like when you first started out? Where did like the influence come from? Where did kind of you get your inspiration from the music?
A lot of it was poetry based, actually, which is funny enough, because we didn't really have much choice as well, in that there weren't hip hop gigs happening. So we were doing a lot of spoken word, and we were really into that. And we would go to like spoken word, like slam poetry sessions, and then whip out a guitar and be like, haha, it's a gig. So we were doing a lot of that, and then kind of started off writing songs on guitar as well. The first song we ever released was on guitar before we started getting into producing beats, etc., and working on beats. So that was a very early stage. There's a lot of acoustic gigs.
You robbed your beats, didn't you? At the start.
We didn't rob. We paid for every beat.
Did we ever rob? Who's saying that? Did we ever rob? I think we robbed one beat, Hella Thirsty. But after that, we paid, for these like very predatory YouTube beat deals, which are like, we haven't read the fine print of those. They are very predatory. They're like, if you actually read it, this whole YouTube beat system, and possibly because producers have been screwed over by artists in the past, but now they're like very much like, if you make money off of performing this in a show, I'm entitled to a cut. And it's like, what kind of, for beats? What is this? So no, we didn't rob that. We didn't rob beats. Bar Hella Thirsty, which is like I think our second song. And we robbed that YouTube beat. But the beat was shite. He's lucky.
He's lucky we graced it. And then had to remove the song.
if anything, you've done him a favor, really.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. Where is he now? I don't know. Probably doing all right.
And when did you start getting like kind of notability, or when do you have a particular moment that you kind of realize, oh, this is something that can like genuinely we can pursue and do quite well in? Was there any? Do you have a
I think
particular
there were
moment?
different moments. What was yours?
we did a song called "It's 2 a.m.," which is our third song, um, and it got read about in State Magazine. And the person who ran State Magazine, Phil Udell, actually ended up being our manager down the line, like a year or so later. So we actually ended up from that State Magazine article. We got kind of State Faces, which is like a gig in Wheelands, and we got Wheelands Ones to Watch, and we played EP that year. I think it was for me when we played EP, it was only like a small stage, like I think the Oxygen stage or whatever. But it was like that was a massive goal of mine to play EP, and we managed to do it in a year. In a year's goal, we managed to build enough momentum to play EP, which was great. So
That's true. For me, I was like, okay, this is all going well. A lot of it, I'm wondering if it's circumstantial, very in my own head about it. And I was like, hey, we're getting there, we're getting there, we're getting there. Releasing music, it's going down well. All of a sudden, we're getting on playlists. But I'll never forget it was 10th of March 3 years ago in the Workman's Club was our first headline show. And when we rocked onto stage, the Workman's was full. Phones were up with cameras on, lights on. People were singing the words to our songs. And I was like, this is it. We could make it. We could really do something with this. If there's enough people here to sing along with our words and build mosh pits and do and jump around and shit and be genuinely excited by the two of us stepping on stage, I was like, this is the moment. This is crazy. So that was the moment for me where I was like, this could actually properly go somewhere.
And then, like, you speak there about like your headline in Workman's, but I guess this time, what year? We're in 2021, so no, not 2020. So it's 2019. Is that when I'm? Yeah, sorry, my maths aren't great, but 2019, like the release of your album, The Young Elite the Old, you just played in Lost Lane. You were booked to play in South by Southwest and all these the kind of other festivals and gigs, and then of course, as everyone knows, COVID is like, hey buddy, go. What's that like for you? Because like you're on a steamroll, like your album, which is great by the way, but like you're on track. You just released that. You've so much ahead of you as a kind of an artist. What's that like for you?
It's definitely deflating. It's really deflating because like on paper you could say that this was one of our most successful years, but because we played South by Southwest, Eurosonic, which is the European version of South by Southwest, pretty much Ireland Music Week. We're playing The Great Escape in the UK, playing all these big international shows, but we're all doing it online from Ireland, so it doesn't feel like as big of an event. I think people don't see it as much of an event in some cases as well, which is really deflating. It really sucks, and it's like it's tough to measure your worth as an artist whenever all you're looking at is streams. You're not going by crowds at your shows. You're not going by chatter on the street. It's just like your numbers, which it's very tiring.
Yeah,
and I suppose like as well for like those kind of festivals, that's where you kind of meet other artists and kind of like collaboration can happen and inspiration and I guess networking to not to an extent, yeah, networking. And when you don't have that kind of in person contact or interactions with both, as you said, their fans and of course other artists, it's a completely kind of different ball game, really, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I don't think people make like music isn't something you do. Like, I think to be a musician, you have to have like real big ego because music isn't something for the most part you do in isolation. You do it to share with people, to like have it impact people, to perform in front of people, to get people's feedback and talk to people about it. So the problem with COVID and everything is you just do music almost in the void because people can like respond on social media and whatever, but that's nowhere near the same as doing a show or even seeing on the street and seeing someone on the street and having a conversation, So yeah, no, it sucks.
It does. Yeah, it's weird for sure.
Yeah, because it's funny there as well, because with your music you kind of comment on things that go around you. It's very personal, and the same with a lot of artists. Like a lot of what they write is personal. I had Philly Speaks on the podcast 2 weeks ago, and she was saying that she finds it very difficult to, I guess, be very interpersonal as herself or on social media, whereas that's what she uses the medium of her art for, to speak what's going around her, to kind of be really, really deep and personal. And it's the same with a lot of your music too. So of course you're going to want to share that with other people in the live venues or in, and that's where you need to grow.
Exactly. Yeah, Philly Speaks, another good Minute person as well.
Yeah, Manute,
just
you gotta stand up, man.
Yeah, you do. You've a lot of I went to DCU, so I'm obviously going to be a bit biased towards.
Ooh, get off your own podcast.
Thank you very much for listening to the podcast. Thanks so much for having me. Really appreciate being here.
The Tebi Rajcast.
Have you been back to Maynooth? Have you played Maynooth? Have you?
A little bit, yeah. We did.
Back to your old stomping grounds.
Well, see, the thing was, we we formed a band basically the tail end of my first year, but Matt's final year. So I was kicking about Manute for another 3 years, and then you were like Matt was SU president for a year, and then he left. So I was around for ages. So we played like summer ball while I was still a student there. For example, we played like a graduation ceremony, something like that, like some kind of like bigs or whatever, while I was still a student there. So there was a lot of Matt coming back to Manute and me being like, I just left Manute like, I graduated for my master's in, I believe, I was finished in like I think 2019.
I think it was 2019. Yeah.
So I'm just out of there really.
It's back a good bit. Yeah.
Are you still working full time with other jobs, or is the music now your full time?
I'm still full time. You're full time music now.
I'm full time music, but I do like project management. I do like marketing campaigns for companies and stuff like that. If anyone wants to throw me the bag to do something,
you got the bags on the side, just
big facts.
Hustler is what they
hustling. Like I do project management. I do little online events and that. You know what I'm saying? Money.
This man's selling all aspects. He's selling his creativity. He's selling his business. His business mogul.
Yo, man, whatever you need, man. You need a little wink in it,
I do need wings.
Don't worry about it. People who know. There'll be people who hit me up like, I knew what was up. I'm like, yeah, I know you know.
That's the Coke speaking. The Coca-Cola, by the way, for those who aren't watching this visually.
Wow,
Coca-Cola.
Might listen to this.
My dad might listen to this, man. What are you doing? You might not see the video. You might think I'm on Coke right now.
I listen to this with eyes closed for ASMR purposes.
But technically, I'm now telling him to go to the video to watch it. So I'm actually getting more views for myself and more listens.
Wow, you should do like marketing campaigns with people and shit. Like you really.
I should work in marketing. That is. Yeah. Hi, Anne. That's how I met you. What would you, in terms of your music, and like, because you have a lot of influences in your music. There's a lot of, I guess it's hip hop, of course, but there's a lot of influence in style from your songs. And you actually said, Max, in an interview, I think it was 2019 was on the interview. I don't know, I don't have it in front of me, but it was that it's not so much about your style, but it's about the vibe that you're feeling and what you're trying to communicate. Is that still the case, or would you say now that you do have a particular style with your music?
No, I don't think so. I think maybe we have like songwriting tropes, and like we have things in terms of like the performance tropes that we tend to lean in on. I personally like to go like really quiet, then really loud, like something like that. But I think for the most part, we kind of figure what does this song need to communicate and what's the best medium to do that. Plus, a lot of stuff we're listening to, like I'm listening to so much like Lauren Hubbard and punk stuff that's kind of like just kind of filtering into our music, so we're really just like, we'll do whatever we need to. I always say like, if we need like a punk song to get a point across, we'll do it. If we need like a lo-fi hip hop song to get a point across, we'll do it. It's whatever the song kind of calls for, and less about what's the Tebi Rex sound. Yeah. I think because we've done music like this for so long, our audience are very lenient with that. Like there are people who love the pop stuff and they're here for the pop stuff, but then when they hear something like, oh, it hurts, they're like, look, it's not necessarily my bag, but I know you guys. I'm giving you guys the room to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And the people who are like, I love when you guys are doing your hard hip hop stuff. I don't really mess with the pop stuff, but you know what? I'm giving you guys the space to do what you feel like doing at the time. So that's what we kind of built up.
Yeah, it's a funny inconsistency that like is our brand at this stage.
Oh yeah. Listen.
Actually, speaking of which, I'm now going to plug Oh It Hurts. I'm going to play it there now. And
lovely. Money.
Having a knot before I'm Kane, nigga. I'm on okay, I'm a kill, nigga. That means I'm great, and my great track keys on my way to my babe. Why you stay like can? I'm not a king, I'm a prophet. You're not at home, you are office. On the ways like cars on my face and them guys, yo, I'm sick if I'm honest. My boy's barely honest. I can't reach your face, your name in them pockets. Yeah, you rapping real good, but it's acting for the looks, sir. Face off, it pays off, eating self-serve. Oh, you irked with your day job. Jake said lay off, I gave him a layup. He gave me a leg up. You stepping on Legos, so it hurts, so it hurts. When they stab you in the back, when they tell you that you're first, but really you're just last. Oh, it hurts, so it hurts. When they stab you in the back, when they tell you that you're first,
really it just lasts. Oh, it hurts, oh, it hurts. When they stab you in the back, when they tell you that you're first, but really it just lasts. Oh, it hurts, oh, it hurts. When they stab you in the back, when they tell you that you're first, but really it just lasts.
If it hurts, point out the pain. Doctor, it's much the same. Instead of taking blame, I'm changing lanes. It's not too late. Told the friends that we'd be back soon. Stocked up just like a back room. Locked up, we're in the bathroom. Looking fucked up and smelling like perfume. And I'm lying so much. On my mind so much. On my mind so much. It hurts enough to wake me up. Man, these nights are tough, and the slightest touch might just be enough. It hurts enough to wake me up. Oh, it hurts, when they stab you in the back, and they tell you that you're first.
Oh, it hurts, oh, it hurts. When they stab you in the back, when they tell you that you're first, but really it just lasts. Oh, it hurts, oh, it hurts. When they stab you in the back, when they tell you that you're first, but really it just lasts.
I'm actually allergic to you. Would you ever cop the fuck on and stop being such a langer? Now grab your flag and cider there. We're going drinking down bumhole. Pop, pop.
Running up, I've been running from my demons. Help me up, pass the post if you see him. I say I'm sorry way too many times. You know I'm sorry, but I gotta try. All these sorries, they don't mean shit. Man, I'm sorry, damn, I ain't shit. Sitting in my misery. Forgiveness ain't the thing that you're giving me. Accountability, don't count me out. I'll be a man before they put me in the ground. Sound, it's gonna be okay. Don't you know, don't you know?
But it's a great song, and I get what you mean. There's obviously a lot of different styles in your music. But I was going to ask you in terms of, you were talking about what your influence in there, what you listen to. Who would you listen to, Matt, most? Who's kind of your influences?
Ooh, in terms of influences in music, I always tend to say Chance the Rapper a lot because I was so deeply into Chance when we first started making music that it really had a massive effect on my
Big
style.
Day. You're a big Day fan, aren't you? That's your.
There's some hits on Big Day, okay? It's not an all skips, you know what I mean?
For those not listening, he has like a massive Big Day poster behind him. Oddly enough,
Chance is coming back. There's redemption happening.
He's a clear see-through CD in his hand with diamonds. It's very strange. It's very strange.
It's a strong four. But acid rap was like what I was properly bad into making music at the start. Childish Gambino as well. At the moment, it's more along the lines of, I think Frank Ocean is a big one at the moment for me. No Name is still there as well a lot. So those kind of, anything that's very, very lyrics heavy or kind of on borderline poetry kind of stuff, I'm really, really into it. You're very much all over the place at the moment with like.
I'm really
No Names. That's Chicago, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's really good.
Mm.
Yeah, I've just been really into like my loud stuff right now. Like I'm liking real aggressive stuff. Like I like the streets right now. They're doing some dope stuff. Lauren Hubbard is really great. Like slow tie stuff is really like class. Like I'm really liking that like loud in your face sound. That's what I've been kind of listening to for the most part.
Yeah, I'd be a big Lloyd Turner fan.
Oh yeah, very
he's
nice.
Great. He's
very
great,
nice.
Man.
We were saying during the week we're talking about an artist called Finch, Irish artist, and I'm calling him the Irish Lowell Carner.
I posted that on Instagram and people messaged me angry.
Really?
I don't want to say who, but there's two artists who messaged me and like that's not fucking true.
Wow.
I'm like, oh okay, man. I'm like, I mean, there's some similarities. Like, no, it's not. And I'm like, okay.
Oh wow.
It's funny though, with social media, certainly now, like I definitely feel more. I reserve to say who my music taste is or who I listen to, because not like of fear of
or Kelly then, yeah.
Yeah.
Trapped in the closet.
And our special guest today.
We got him out of jail for this.
Just comes in with the handcuffs, and it's like, "Thank you."
Has been on.
No, that's not the case. But I think just like for fear of being attacked online for people like. However, like I'm not one like I never believe in someone should be prejudiced over someone else's music taste at all. I think it's silly. However, I do think that everyone should have a portfolio, or at least widen their portfolio of listening to music, because I think it's really important to hear other genres and other sounds.
This is it. I hate when people. I will never answer the question like, "Oh, name your top 3 rappers," or name
Easy.
your top 3 albums for
Oh right, never mind.
Kanye or
I'll
something.
scribble that one
I'm
out.
like, yeah, because I'm like, no, because people beef with it so much. It's like it's my opinion, you know.
See, the thing is, I think when it ever becomes like a list, because any listicle I make, I'm using just objective facts, and I'm just correct. Any listicle I make, any top 3 I make is just objectively correct.
Mine's
So
all off personal vibes.
I'm never, because like it's the thing of like, if you were to ask me like, for example, like my favorite 3 rappers and the best 3 rappers, those are completely different.
different.
lists.
Yeah, this is the thing. Yeah.
So
It's changing as well. Like it's who you're listening to. It's not always the same person. I'm sure you might have a favorite, but like, or you might go back to certain artists as well who you're, mad about. But there always is someone new. There's always new genres. There's always new, I guess, mixes of music. There's always new artists up and coming. There's always new songs. So like, it's not always going to be the same.
yeah, people are weird. I remember I was doing like songs I was listening to, and there was this one Blackpink song, which is a K-pop group. So I was thinking, Gomez, just showed up on my New Music Friday. I'm like, oh, this is great. And I was sharing all these songs I was listening to, and I shared that, and a lot of people who were like, what the hell? You listening to K-pop? I'm like, listen to the song. Like, this song is like genuinely good.
Weird.
But it's like, yeah, it's that kind of weird stigma of around certain genres of music or certain artists. It's like, if it's this artist and they're just perceived to be like garbage already, people are turning their nose up at it, regardless of what it sounds like or what it is already. Like, it's gonna be ass, and vice versa. There's people who are like, they have so much good credibility. Like, I'm a big Billie Eilish fan, and she won like Song of the Year in the Grammys this year, and she did not deserve it in any way, shape, or form. But once you have such good credibility built up around yourself, it's almost harder for you to drop garbage based on people.
People are defending
And
it
then
so
if
much.
you are already taboo or just seen as like K-pop or genre like that, people be like, even if it's good, they're less willing to enjoy it. I remember I heard this song on the radio in work, and I thought it was, who did I think it was? I thought it was like the Jonas Brothers or something. And they were playing work every day. And I was like, yo, this Jonas Brothers song is quite good. And they're like, let's picture this. I'm like, huh? Turn that off. I was even enjoying. Turn that off now. That was even me.
Yeah, picture who.
My roommate, he's a bit of a music snob now, to be fair to him. I say that as if it's a good thing. But and I think I had this conversation with him before. He's not so much a music snob. I think he just hates when people don't like start making points about music what they don't understand, and I think that's where
Give me an example. Like, what kind of stuff?
I don't like, I was just going to say that, not that makes sense to me. I actually don't know what he was meaning. That's what I'm saying. But I think when people try to talk about like the technicalities of different types of music or genres, but they clearly don't know what they're talking about, and I think that's what might annoy him. Which, listen, each to their own. But I think I put up my story, it was a good few weeks ago, a Phoebe Bridgers song, because that is what I like to listen to when I run, because I'm
Which
depressed.
one is it?
Phoebe Bridgers.
No, which song is that?
Oh, Funeral.
Oh, Funeral. Ah, okay.
Which is a really depressing song. Like, it genuinely is such a depressing song. But like, I got same as you. I got attacked for even liking her. Like, what are you doing? I'd be like it's all the boys back in Clara who would like love Fiddy and Eminem, who are, again, iconic. But fuck off. Let me listen to my depressing songs when I'm going.
That's
on
like,
a
what you
flight.
doing listening to our soft shit? What is that? What is that? But it's like, she's whopper. Like that one song, Kyoto. I'm like, God, this is really good. I avoid listening to it for ages because I didn't want to be basic, because everyone fancied her. I'm like, if I listen to this woman, I will fancy her. So I put it off for like a year.
Sure, her album Up in the Alps, I think that's the name of the album, Up in the Alps, is like on constant repeat. And then like I have a whole list of different other genres that I listen to.
Too?
You studied English. You studied English, Max. Yeah, Max.
Yeah, you're fine. You're safe.
I'm good for now.
I would want that I also listen to, but I mean, look, you complicated, but you're not incorrect grammatically,
Okay, thank you. Learning. That's all this is. This podcast is all about learning. I want to. What is it for? Because for someone on the outside as well, looking in at the Irish hip hop scene. I mean, like 7-8 years ago, for me the Irish hip hop scene didn't even exist. I mean, I was back at home in Offaly, and it was kind of just listening to whatever is popular. And now, like, it's growing so much for ye who are in the heart of it. And you definitely know more. How big is the scene in comparison to what it looks like from some of the outside?
I'm gonna say off the bat, if you say 8 years ago it didn't exist, you have a lot of backpackers in your mentions. Like, huh? What about Redzer? Huh? What about the Class A's? What
The old
about Nuggets?
OGs.
Which are those guys are all
Yeah.
great, by the way. But it's like they weren't, getting main stage of festivals like some of these artists like Jafar and stuff like that. Like they were opening up for Lana Del Rey, like Kojak and that. So it existed for a while. You know what I'm saying? Like you had Scary Era, but in terms of it having this kind of mainstream accessibility, yeah, you're talking the last like 4 years, you had this massive insurgence of it. And the thing is, it's much more deep than we even know. I've always prided myself. At one point 2 years ago, I could name you every Irish rapper. For the most part, I was at least in some way vaguely familiar. Now I don't know at all. There's too many. It's to a
Yeah.
point of explosion where it's like you'd be hard pressed keeping track of it. But I'll tell you what is huge. Like there are boys who aside venues in Dublin that you never heard a whiff of their name, and that's the size we're at now.
Because back to what I was saying was I didn't hear of it. I'm not saying it didn't exist, but it didn't exist to me being back because of that no access to mainstream. And look, I guess the likes of social media and the popularity of streaming music now has obviously enough, as we know, helped not only that but helped the independent music scene. I seen an article actually, was it last week, that they reckon by I think it's 2030, 50% of music that will be listened to on Spotify will be independent. In
Yeah,
I
comparison,
believe it.
like
Yeah.
50% of streams, not music, 50% of streams from everyone will be in independent music.
Yeah, I personally love Spotify and the work they're doing. The Spotify overlords are amazing, and please continue to playlist us. I've never had a bad word to say about you, Spotify. Just so you know.
But I will
And this
segue.
this podcast is sponsored by iTunes Music.
Whoa, no, wait, no, that actually, listen, Apple Music.
what's
No
going
beef
on?
with
What's
you
going on
either,
Apple
you know what I'm
Music?
saying?
Hey.
I think you guys are great.
Playlists make
I
money.
love apples, just off the cuff, better than oranges, in my opinion.
Oh
So,
man, if we're comparing, which we shouldn't, but let's just say. No, but I would to say Goo, I would
that was let's just clarify. That was quite a weird segment for what just like went into a very like deep conversational chat about the Irish hip hop scene to just how much you like apples in a really low voice.
Granny Smith.
well, you gotta play safe. I think someone was complaining like, why does every Irish artist like when they get playlists on Spotify like share it and tag Spotify? It's because like, oh, we're trying to get more playlists. We're kissing ass to daddy so we get what we want.
Because it's
Duh.
tough, because it's a mess out there trying to get playlisted.
That's the thing, because I think it's funny that you talk about everything being independent with Spotify and stuff like that, because there's a lot of interesting fights going on now between labels and artists and Spotify and like payments and stuff. But sorry, excuse me, we went from like one gatekeepers to another, where like these playlists of like playlists with like 1 million followers could legit like make or break people's careers. So it's gone from like radio gatekeepers to streaming gatekeepers. So everyone going independent is actually great. I think the less label monopoly they have is probably the best thing for artists. But then labels have negotiating power with things like Spotify. And like if Spotify pisses off Sony, they're like, we can pull all of our shit from your service.
100%.
And that's a threat. I think independent artists don't really have the same kind of negotiating power. So I would love to see how that kind of thing develops, because you can see, oh yeah, most of the music on Spotify is now independent. We're giving artists less for a stream, or Apple Music could do that, or anyone could do that, And it's not like I don't think they will, but it's like we wouldn't really have the lobbying power to stop them, but a label would.
100%.
But then again, labels are also screwing artists as well. So artists are getting screwed either
Regardless.
which way. I'd much rather get screwed by Spotify and Apple Music personally.
I remember, I think I was reading an article recently about Spotify talking about offering a service where you could get higher plays or higher playlisting if you take a lesser royalty per stream.
Well, you better bad talk Spotify, because you should stop.
You should quit that.
You should stop what you're doing.
But it would just mean we'd all do it. You know what I mean? Like if 10 artists did that, then everyone would have to do it to level the playing field. It's like a bubble type of thing.
But I would say an interesting question for any artist you get moving forward is ask them if they could get on one of those playlists with 1 million and with 1 million followers, right? Like a no cap hip hop or whatever, or like a new punk, would they forfeit all earnings from that song? Because if you ask me, I would.
Yeah.
If I could make zero earnings and you would put me on your bigger playlist, I'd make that choice. I'd get the money back from shows. I get the money back from sync. I'd figure it out. Like, A
To an
million
extent, you're just investing the money that you would have gotten back into yourselves, like back into like
Yeah,
Mm.
that.
No,
That's
no
what,
one's eating off Spotify anyway, really.
I mean, yeah, like what, a million streams, like what, 3K? It's like, it's not all the money in the world. I would love a million streams and no K. Just give me a million streams, please.
Yeah, I think we have like 2.5 million total since we started, which is like
Flex.
3 or 4 years ago. Still flex.
Flex.
But that's like the
nice.
investment into that is probably a much grander total than the profit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
like artists are paying PR companies, and maybe this is not the usual direction of the podcast, but artists are paying PR companies like 500 to 1,000 euro for playlisting, to do their playlists and hopefully get them on a Spotify playlist. You know, so it's kind of people capitalizing on this system where I would personally prefer if they were like, look, if you take no money from this our playlist, you're like, yes, please. I'd much prefer that, because then you can be like, it's a difference in negotiating between, let's say, for example, you take us and an artist A, and we can both fill out a Dublin venue of like 300 or 500 people.
Mm.
I have a million plays on Spotify, and they have like 10,000. We can both fill out the same number of people in Ireland. If we're talking about festival prices and what we're getting paid way more than the other artists, because they're looking at our numbers.
Mm.
In reality, we can both fill the same room. We probably have the same.
You have the
audience in
same,
the
yeah,
country.
you don't same like.
Mm.
But your Spotify numbers directly impact the amount of money you can negotiate. So I mean, in the long run, I would much prefer streams now to figure out the other shit later, instead of
Yeah.
getting what, 2,000 euro for a million streams. I don't need it. Give me the streams.
And when you're like, okay, so when you're like making music and you're making a song, do you think of the virality of the music, or is that something? Because I only ask that certainly in sense of the likes of and TikTok, which I've talked about before. As you're the first musical artist to be on the show, the power, and I'm not just saying TikTok, but it's a benchmark for the power of social media for the likes of music, and how viral something is, and how it can just be shot into fame, and how it can shoot an artist into worldwide success.
I think as an afterthought, it's fine. I think if you have a song, you're like, oh, actually, that could be funny if we did that with this. Or if you have like quirks in the song and stuff like that, it's cool. I would be scared of making a song in the hope that I'm like, let's make this because it's going to be cutesy or viral or whatever. Because at the end of the day, for anyone who watches TikTok, you know that like this thing is so random sometimes. Like you cannot predict, and it's old songs that pop off sometimes, or it's songs that
Sometimes it's not even songs; it's fucking sound bites of like.
noise.
Yeah.
Like when you see Drake doing Tootsie Slide and like quite clearly trying to make a viral TikTok thing that in terms of virality on TikTok didn't do that well.
And no one did it. Yeah,
Yeah.
the thing is as well, like, you have to ask yourself, if someone said, look, if someone came to us like, hey, we want to put your song in the movie, or we want to put a song by you in the movie, make us some fucking pop garbage nonsense, and you know you're gonna get like movie money from it, of course, sure, but like there'll be none worse than if you like try engineer something to go viral and it flops, and then you're like, I both have a garbage tune and 100 streams. Like I'd much rather have a good tune than like 50 streams, you know. So
If someone said like your song is terrible and you're like, yeah, I know, that would be the worst thing
that's
ever.
the worst, man. And I kind of have one song we did where I was like, because I think in many ways, not that we were like trying to have a viral hit, but we were kind of forcing it a little bit. It felt a little bit like we were forcing it. So when people were critiquing it, I'm kind of like, and this was like years ago, I was kind of like, yeah, maybe you're right. Like I can't really defend us.
Okay, I wonder what song that was.
Financial Controller.
Oh, okay.
I think there were things we
I
did.
like
in that
Financial
song.
Controller.
I like that song too, but I think there was things that we did where we were like, oh, this will be man, I trash, but two, you know. I think there were tiny things he did where I'm like, even like I was like, oh, I should curse a little less. I was like rewriting my verse to be a little less. Like I was like, fuck it, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I love the harmonies in it. That's what I was like vibing to the harmonies in that song. But
you know, it's funny.
but yeah, like it's such a viral song.
It's funny. The harmonies in that song is done by Shiv, another Irish artist who.
Yeah, she went actually. Sorry, DCU. Now, fucking DCU shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
But I was on first dates with Shiv, and that's how that actually came together, man.
What?
That's
Yeah.
right. First date.
That is go away. That is so interesting. When was this?
Weird backstory.
Oh, like maybe like 2 years, three.
2 or 3 years ago.
years ago.
Yeah.
I was on first dates, man, and
Good times. Came across well.
I tell you what, boys, if you ever
together?
if you're ever single, get on first dates, because if you get curved on TV, your DMs are nuts.
I actually,
mad.
I was on. I don't think I've spoken about this in the podcast yet.
Ooh, scoop.
Exclusive. I was on when lockdown sort of came to level 3. I was on a show for RT. It was only for the player, and it was called Love in Lockdown, which was first dates,
Oh.
but in lockdown. So everything was like socially distant. So like, you met each other on a separate bench that was 2 meters apart, and you talked to each other and all this. And and then you do an activity like cycling or kayaking where you can be 2 meters apart at all times. And I arrived. I was like, "Fuck it, yeah, why not? Single, nothing seems to be helping me, so I'll take anything." I was like, I'm trying new styles. I'm literally trying everything, and we arrived out. That was grand. Sat down. They kept me waiting for ages before like my day came out.
Mm.
My day came out. Now, bear in mind, I'm 25, and talking away to her, and she was really nice. And then
Oh.
she's like, "How old are you?" I was like, "Oh, I'm 25, nearly 26." And I was like, "What about you?" She goes, "Oh, 19." I was like, "Well."
Ooh.
Yo, man. This guy really is listening to R. Kelly.
And not to be ageist or anything, but for me personally, I know that 19-year-old me, as in like if I was 30, and so what's the age difference there? 6. If I was 30 and the girl was 24, that's
bad.
completely fine. For
Mhm.
me, it's the maturity, as if I was comparing myself as 19 to when I'm now 25, completely different person, gone through a lot personally, growth, and et cetera, et cetera. And at the end, when I said, because I said no, and usually I would have been someone who in my head would say, I'll always say yes on first dates, and then maybe afterwards say, listen, I don't think, because I don't, I feel like,
Oh, that's bad though. Oh my god, that's even worse, kinda.
is it because like,
Ooh.
what if they got very, very like self-conscious or very in a public way, because this is public television as well, so people can see this, especially if they had said yes
Yes.
first. If they had said yes first, then you wouldn't want to be like,
On TV, I'd say yes regardless. I'd be like, yeah, I couldn't.
Really? You guys have no integrity.
No.
You guys
What?
have no
That
integrity.
is
No.
that is us having integrity, because we don't want to.
You're the type of guys who like want to break up and stay together for 6 extra months just to spare their feelings, aren't you? You have
That
no
was 2
integrity.
times. That was 2 times.
Jesus.
I would fucking hate for someone to be like, oh, he
No.
absolutely roasted me on TV. They
Yeah.
just done it after.
Yeah,
No,
that's
but
like
what they try to take you out of like, yeah, so like, and you're like, really? Because I'd be more pissed as someone who's gotten curved on national TV. I respected the honesty, and she said no first. And like, what would you have said? I'm like, I would have said yes,
Mm.
but I'm finally said no. It is what it is. Like, I'm on this TV show. Like, if you're like, I got curved on national TV, I'm so surprised. Oh, it's the fucking rules of the show. Like, what did you expect?
Yeah.
It's not a surprise that this
True.
happened, you know?
Very
no,
true.
that's actually, yeah, very good. Listen, it's probably my own insecurities. I would hate it, knowing if
Yeah.
that's probably what it is. But I did say, I on the show, I said no. And now bear in mind, the girl was lovely. Like, she was really nice, very, very, very pretty. Again, it's just that kind of age thing. And then he asked me why I said no, and I gave him the very answer I just gave you. I was like, listen, if I was to compare myself as a 19-year-old to a 25-year-old, and then he just goes, do you think it's fair to project your own insecurities on someone else?
Oh,
Like,
oh my God. The host said that.
the producer. And I just kind of went, I sort of looked at her and I was like, no, it's probably not fair. And I didn't know what to say.
Yo.
That's
Yeah, that-
wild. He shouldn't have done that.
Funny enough, the episode didn't get aired.
Oh, fuck.
On the player. I think we have this idea that potentially because of the age gap, there might have been a bit of backlash on social media,
Definitely.
which is great, which I understand too. So that's why it didn't.
Mm.
But
Did she
if
say
you ever
yes?
look at, huh?
Did she say yes?
She said she was going to say yes. Yeah.
Ah, nice.
Okay.
Score. Well done.
Don't do this. Don't do this.
Yeah, bro, you got it.
Don't need to see this.
But if you're ever looking for a fun activity to do, I'm telling you, kayaking down by Dunleary, it is unreal. The kayaking guy brought us under the instructor brought us under the pier. There was a family of seals. They were singing at us.
I know
was
you will
unreal.
never do this though.
Yeah, kayaking. I mean, I might, but the thing is, you're so right, because I think there's so many fun activities that like, because the thing is, if someone's trying to go on a date, even pre-COVID, we're thinking, all right, a coffee, a drink, whatever. I remember there was this girl I tried
Oh,
getting.
straight to bed. What are you on about?
Yeah, got it.
I've been
Wow.
I have be ready. That's what I. This is.
It's a bed right here. But I remember I tried to get this girl, and she was like, no, thank you. And I was like, okay, cool, no worries. And then one day she was like on Twitter, like, hey, I have these 2 tickets to go like alpaca walking. I'm like, here, I know you curved me a month ago, but I'll go to this like, on a friend.
Alpaca walking.
Lovely,
Mm.
lovely day. It was up in the
Mm.
mountains, walking there. They're like big dogs, very cute, very fluffy. You get your own alpaca and you're walking with them in a group of people. You have like a champagne. So nice.
It's such a strange concept, isn't it?
One of the nicest afternoons I had in a long time. Very, very nice.
It is. I'm much more of an activity man for certainly for first dates. I can't do the sitting in front of people trying to get to know them while eating food. Like it's not.
Okay.
I'd rather.
You don't eat food, that's amateur hour. But the problem is if you go there and you're doing something like kayaking and they're like, oh, crazy, it's like I have no way to exit this situation quickly. A coffee,
You're in a boat.
A coffee could be 30 minutes to an hour and 30. Like, oh, get away from me. I'm out of here. Like, so I think a coffee gives you a good exit. So I think a first date for me is always like, I'm trying to just dip my toe in the water and then leave. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be with you the whole day. Try to see if your vibe's cool. Boom. Then we have a second date. You know, that's it. Like,
I'm trying to get drunk.
See, I've a terrible issue of just trying to please people and just I keeping someone happy. So if they're not vibing, I'll just wait till it's over, and then
Hence not rejecting.
Now
your
I will say to their face though.
Absolutely.
If I would say to their face, like if they came a conversation, I'd be like, oh look, I don't think this is working out. That's one thing. And the one thing I really hate is ghosting. I don't understand it. Certainly, if you've been talking to someone, I mean, the only time it's ever acceptable to ghost someone is if you match them on Tinder and you've exchanged 2 or 3 messages, and that's about it.
well, that's not ghosting.
Hey.
That's the only, because you're not going to write to someone, listen, I don't think this is working out, just because.
Yeah.
If someone's like, this person ghosted me, I'm like, listen here, Casper, you wanna
Take a good long look at yourself.
relax. You're the ghost. Wait, I saw. Oh, it's like, is this tweet where it's like, someone says you ghosted them after 2 messages, and you're like, listen, experiment 6216. Like Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I didn't get that reference. I didn't get that reference right away. But
People are gonna go nuts at concert. Like, he's very funny, very topical. Lilo and Stitch reference. He's hilarious.
wow, this guy should be an entertainer of some sort. This guy is really
maybe marketing or something. Maybe you know.
You should do like before your next gig, like you should open up, but like comedy, and then go into the music. That's it.
Often, Podge, that happens.
We do this in between songs. Like, this is like legit what we do on stage. Like, we're just chatting shit in between songs.
And if it's going well and the jokes and the coming and the laughs are happening, I'm like,
Oh.
it should be a comedy song. And they're like,
Give me
"Hey."
€20 and they sang one fucking song, but the rest of it is like a Tommy Tiernan act.
I love using the same jokes over and over again, and when they hit each time, I'm like, fools, you're fools.
Playing you like a fiddle. Puppet.
So that's actually back to the music. I want to ask you before we kind of go into the dating scene that's non-existent really for me. Do you have a favorite song that you've made? Do you have a particular song that you love the most? Because I think that's when we were talking there about, and you mentioned, you know, Financial Controller, and you were like, there was elements to that in terms of the virality. But do you have a favorite song that you're most proud of that you put together?
Oh, it's always funny. So there's a douchey artist answer to this, is that there's one that we haven't released yet. That's my favorite, which is no, we're not going to go into that because it's pointless. It's redundant.
Which one is it, by the way?
Farlasta.
Ah, yeah, you do like Fair Last.
But there's
You're like
one
a married couple. Oh, you do like that. Now.
You're into that one now,
Yeah,
Dirty messer, yeah. But there's one. It changes a lot. But for the last long while, it's been Lotus Eaters, and it's because one of the best moments in my music career happened because of that song. Was that we were, and this was the last gig we played to people, was in February of 2020. We were playing in Lost Lane for a thing Hot Press were doing called I think it was Carnival or some type of thing like that. And there was these 2 American girls there at the set, and they were like, oh, we wanted to chat to you. We were about to go back to the US, and we were thinking about staying longer. We weren't sure we were going to go home. And then we heard Lotus Eaters on the radio on the taxi, and we were like, no, we're going to stay. And they stayed in Ireland for like a much longer. I think they stayed for like 6 more months or something like that. And then they ended up ordering merch when they went back to the US and stuff and everything. So since that, I think Lotus Eaters is my baby. It's
wow, that's really I forget that story sometimes. For me, it's Robin season, just because people punch head off each other at shows during that song.
Robin
So.
Season's good. And we
It's
recorded
very,
that.
like, it's very heavy beats. Like it's. I don't know. Again, I'm not too like, I wouldn't be a music nerd in terms of knowing technicalities, but like it's like a grime element to it. Is there? It is like the.
It's something hefty in it. Yeah, is it grime?
I wouldn't call it
No.
like maybe even so. Like, honestly, it's more like akin to, I wouldn't say techno, but that kind of house feel, because we were doing the song right, and that's like second song on the album, second song, and it was like that whole section's called like war. So it's like, okay, let's do something where it's like it sounds like people marching going to war.
Mm.
And then we did it in like, oh, this doesn't sound great. What if we made it like war, but like a Crash Bandicoot game? And that's where we got the kind of like the glitchy
Dun,
dun
dun,
dun
dun,
dun
dun,
dun
dun,
dun
dun,
dun
dun,
dun. Like
dun,
it's like
dun.
that's it. So we're just like it's legit based off like
Booga
it's based off a Crash Bandicoot game. It's like this is like when you're about to fight the final boss. So yeah, I think that one's just heavy. Like I do love like kind of doing the heaviest songs because even on record, like we don't have the most aggressive voices. Like Matt's very kind of soft and angelic, and I'm like
I'm a child.
very laid back in terms of rapping. But live, it's like we scream, we shout. So it's a good opportunity to kind of cut loose. It's like cathartic in a way.
That's my favorite live song, to be fair.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
you actually talk about the album there. Where did the concept of the album come from? Because it's like, what's the Greek god? Kronos? Is it?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes.
it's about like the young, and obviously the young elite, the old. So that's kind of where he was fearful of being overthrown by his children. But where did the idea of the concept and the kind of three acts come from?
Well, for me, like I like even speaking about Minute, I did a year. I did a year of
Did you
classics.
go to Minute, man? You should have mentioned
Yeah, I
that.
did. We got to Minute, no one
Matt,
calls
you're-
it
Max
country where it matters. But I did a year of classics. And I've always been a big Greek mythology head. So I was thinking for ages because I usually come to Matt with mad concepts like, hey, how about this for a thing? So I was like, okay, you want to make an album? What should it be about? I want to make a concept album. I have no personal. I think like even now, I like the most recent Irish album I listened to was like Pillow Queens, and they had all this like amazing like personal turmoil and growth and all this really meaningful stuff, and I had none of that. Like my life was fine. It was very
Shout out Pillow
boring by
Queens as
the
well.
numbers.
Great band, great Irish band.
Oh, amazing. Album great. Anyways, besides the point. So I remember it was like I think for me the linchpin point was always at like Kylie Jenner was close to being a billionaire, right? She was nearly at $1 billion. And her fans caught wind of this and started donating and giving her money.
Yeah.
So I crowdfunded her enough money to become a billionaire. I thought to myself, here's poor people or people who are working class trying to make someone a billionaire for no other reason the fact that they like them so much. I thought, our relationship with celebrity and fame is really, really fucked up because the closest thing to being a god in modern society is to be famous. That's the closest thing to deity. So I wanted to be like, okay, let's do that in an album form. Let's do a thing about actual gods with metaphors for celebrity and how that whole arc can be. You say you want to be famous and you want to be the best, and you then become famous and you're best. And you're a good person, but eventually you become a shitty person. Like you've seen that happen with Kanye West. You've seen that happen with so many famous people where it's like, hey, or even Ed Sheeran like doing some shit in his house where homeless people couldn't come near it. It's like you are at one point homeless, like busking, and now your house is like made to prevent homeless people from finding shelter there. It's like you see that arc of I don't think a lot of these bad celebrities start off as bad people, but infinite fame and power and just like adoration from strangers can make you a bad person. So that's what the album was about, just becoming a bad person from being.
There's actually, you speak on that, the Blind Boy podcast, which I'm sure you know of, the biggest podcast.
I didn't know the Podge podcast. Sorry, whoever this blind boy fella is.
Nice.
Could be me.
That was good. I like that. But he done a podcast with Graham Norton, and it's a really interesting interview because they talk about the dynamics of famous people and how. And Graham Norton talks about, doesn't obviously specifically mention any famous person. Of course, he's a professional, but they talk about how people go from that normal life, and as you mentioned there, they're not a bad person, to this I guess this obnoxious egotistical maniac that some of them can be. Who is, just out of curiosity, you like Greek mythology, who is your favorite Greek god?
Ooh, you know what? I've always been more so drawn to the characters near the gods, like the Odysseus or the Achilles, like it wasn't so, because I think it's just so interesting, those stories where it's like you live in a world where gods are real for sure, like gods have spoken to you, and it's like overcoming stuff and gods being like, I'm gonna give you a little help here and nudge you. Like I think Athena was always dope for being like, look, I'm not gonna solve your problem for you, but I might give you a little help, a little like whatever. I just thought that was always like real neat, real nice of Athena. So that's mine, I guess.
I actually don't really have one. I only started getting into Greek mythology when we decided to do an album themed around it. And you were like, look at this painting by Francesco Goya where it's Saturn eating his son. I'm like, who the fuck's Saturn? And I was like, okay, Saturn ate Cronus and Cronus, all this kind of stuff, and went through all this. And then I started like trying to mesh different gods into songs. Like in Financial Controller, I mentioned Plutus, which is the god of money. I'm trying to like wedge all these references in. I'm like, yeah, really getting in my bag. But don't have a preference. Don't have a preference of a god for sure. Me.
I think Aphrodite's is mine.
Are you
Yeah,
romantic?
yeah,
Are you cutie?
oh, you cute. Oh man,
Thank you.
she gonna sort you out now, man. After you told her your date.
Was Aphrodite's also not the god of fertility? That's sort of what I went with.
So
Is she not?
you talking about Aphrodite? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, she
God
is.
of love.
They're always like
Yeah, but it's the fertility part that was meant to be a joke. It didn't fucking land. Right, lads. Let's just move on.
Oh
Okay, I
damn,
guess.
sorry, man. Oh no, like fertility. Wow, that's crazy.
Thanks, appreciate it.
But that's so
I
weird.
actually, I do want to mention. How did you get Natalia, or what got you to get Natalia of Flaherty on this album? Because the three acts, obviously, it's split into 1, 2, 3, and she does kind of the spoken word part, and it's beautiful. It really is, really, really, really lovely, and she's amazing, and it's a really nice way of kind of dividing up the album. But where did you decide not only to get her, but, yeah, actually, sorry, where did you come up with that idea to split into 3 acts, and then when did you decide to get Natalia on board?
Well, I think it's funny because the three-act system came from us being like, we need to make an album and it needs to be cohesive because we hate
Symmetrical
albums that
and
aren't
everything,
cohesive.
yeah.
But we didn't. We wanted songs that really sounded very different. Like it can be very jarring sometimes to go from like, if you go from like a Lowe's Eaters to like a freaking like Hero and Hubris or like that kind of thing where it's like this like kind of pop stuff that's like very like lo-fi kind of hip hop. So we felt the act structure was great because it meant that we could split it into different sections, and by virtue of it being a new section, it's supposed to sound different from section one. So it's like, no, this isn't not cohesive. We made them different on purpose. But also, I think the storytelling element, it felt like, look, it's kind of a play in a little bit, a 3-act structure for like a good kind of hero's journey. You know, that's what we felt. With Natalia, we have the same managers, and we've been friends with Natalia for years now. And we said, look, in the same way in the Greek tradition, you have that like Homeric character, oratory, telling the story. You know, it's like in Greek tradition, you go into like their version of a bar and someone in the corner of a bar with a little guitar singing away about this epic. So we wanted Natalia to be that. We had to be in like a modern bar in like Maynooth, and she's in the corner and she's drinking and she's telling someone this story about this person who used to be something. And then you kind of follow that. And it goes from her being in the bar to being in the taxi to her like being at a festival and kind of like still talking to the same person and bring them along this journey about that person, you know. So
funny enough, the person she's speaking with as well as Adam Shanahan, who kind of who was apart from ourselves the one common denominator throughout the whole album. He was recording, mixing, producing some of the songs and then recording and mixing every song, the whole thing. So we had like some of the continuity with him. So shout out to him. We also just love Desperate Housewives and the narration.
What's his act name?
Sorry?
What's his act name?
His act name is My Fault Music, isn't it?
Yeah.
But he's doing bits. He's working with Shiv now as well. He's working with Pat Lagoon. Did the Nilo album. Yeah, he's doing an awful lot. So a lot of your favorite Irish music is being touched by the hands of Adam Shanahan.
I don't know why it didn't sound weird in my head.
It was weird.
I didn't say growth by the hands of Shanahan.
Whoa.
Adam's cancelled all of a sudden.
And back comes R. Kelly. No, sorry.
R. Kelly's like, yo, someone say my name.
Your podcast's gonna get flagged for saying his name so much.
Jesus Christ. What's next for you, lads? What can you talk about? I know as artists there's things you can't talk about. It's always the case. But what is next?
When is this coming out?
Huh?
When is this coming out? Do you know?
This is coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, nothing to say, bro.
We got nothing for you. Sex tape soon.
Go listen. Jesus.
No, that's it.
Go listen to Oh It Hurts, please. And just follow us on socials, and we'll be making announcements in the next week or two, but I can't make them now because it's coming out tomorrow.
Lads, before we go, I've 1 or 2 quick questions I want to ask you in terms of the Irish hip hop scene and obviously the growth and where it's at now, which is incredible, and you being part of the cornerstone of that, certainly in its growth. Who else are you listening to in Ireland? Who do you think who do you consider your peers that you would love people to listen to as well?
I'm going to bring up Finch again. I think Finch is doing some really cool stuff, and lyricist wise, one of my favorite lyricists in the country. Really draws me in. And then there's only 2 other names I would pull up because one of whom we worked with before, and both just genuinely fantastic musicians, is Abby Coulibaly and Monjola. Monjola featured on Robin Season with us, but has been one of our best friends for like the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years more.
For a while now.
So those are my 3.
I would say you gotta listen to Rebecca Locke, who's so talented. Like we have her on the song on this album as well. Like she's a bizarre character. If you ever want someone on this podcast who's gonna really creep out your friends from back home, but like what you would love, have her on this podcast. You got Dara Patel, who I think is just a real talent. He's only like a song or two and he's like early days. And you also have like Local Boy, who to me is the most talented person in this country still by a mile off, from like the music to producing to the rapping to singing. Like he's a Swiss Army knife of talent, and yeah, it's like the best person in the country.
I would say about Local Boy, my position in this band is in jeopardy until he dies. If something was to happen to me, he would be a much better replacement. And he's fucking
That's
fantastic.
fair. I'm actually, I think it's For Those I Love's album coming out tomorrow. So I'm
Oh,
really-
that's gonna that last song he
looking
did,
forward.
Birthday/Pain. I was like, oh, it made me so angry how good it was.
He's phenomenal as well. It's incredible, and it's funny because, and the same with yourselves, and like there's a lot of like spoken word influence as well in Irish hip hop, which is really like, it just makes it's lyrically it's genuinely beautiful, which is incredible to see.
Irish poetry, man, it's been like this way for hundreds of years. It's the most bizarre thing how we just keep churning out poets on this little island.
I feel it's a flip because I think there's so much poetry in Irish music right now because it went from the thing of people and radio stations actually saying, "Hey, we do not want to play this person. He sounds very Irish." I think many people have kind of weaponized that. And it's like, because obviously when you sing, you lose your accent a little bit. But I think people are like, I'm not losing my accent when I'm singing, and I'm going to have these talking bits where I'm just talking in my accent. And it's a lot more kind of powerful now. I think it has this great impact, So you do see it, and even like with a new song coming out, like you're just talking for certain lines and stuff like that. And I think it's great to hear. It's great to see the growth because it was a thing before where it's like, if you sound Irish, I do not want to hear it on radio. I don't want it to be played. It sounded weird to people. And then a lot of people, if you didn't sound Irish, if you sound Irish enough, it's like, this is a fake, you're putting on an accent, you're a fake Yank. And we've hit a kind of nice middle ground now where everything gets played based on the quality of the stuff. And we're not playing these dumb games.
Max, you said, I think it was it 9 or 9? I'm not too sure now. Again, I don't know the exact interview of which interview it was, but you mentioned that when you were growing up, you listened to a lot of hip hop, and you might have felt slightly disconnected. Especially, I think in interview you had mentioned that very few people of color in Kildare, and you listened to a lot of hip hop. You might have felt disconnected because they wouldn't have come to Ireland for gigs. But like for you now, how does it feel to be, I guess, paving the way for people below you, for younger generations to come through, setting off that like kind of hip hop and the, I guess, hip hop renaissance in Ireland, let's call it?
Yo, I think the best thing you can do to kind of influence people is where you're from. You gotta wear that on your sleeve. I think the thing is, people from Dublin do it so much, which is great to see. Like I think it's great what Mango does and great what Nilo does. And I think that's all class. When it's outside those areas, outside those big cities, people are more quiet about it. Like there are musicians from Kildare who have never mentioned Kildare. And I think that's so weird because there's kids from Kildare who it's hard to make music and be from Kildare. And it's hard to like, you can even probably attest to this there where like, because I don't know what your situation is like back in Offaly, but if you're not from a big town, it's a little harder to do things outside the norm. And it's good to have those people to point to and be like, no, he's from here, he's doing this, and he's bigging us up. So it's like, you're right. I'll mention Manu 10 times in the interview. I'll shoehorn that motherfucker in because it's like, I want more people from Manu and more people from Kildare to do this kind of stuff. Because you can be like, if you were a rapper and an Irish, if you're from Dublin, there's so many people to point to, but there's not that many people who are. I love what Denise is doing. I love what that whole group is doing because it's opening doors for people who are like, wait, no, I can do this. There are people who look like me who are doing this, who are from the same area, and they're successful. So yeah, I think it's cool that if it helps anyone, I would encourage more people to do it. Like, I don't know, like, yo, you might be from fucking Clare. There might be nothing great in Clare. Big up Clare if you're from there. Help kids in Clare make music and do shit. No hate to Clare. I was trying to think of a country.
No. It's funny how like you're like thinking. I could tell in your head every county hits you, and you know, like you loads of names. You're like, oh fuck, I need to pick one, and you just kind of pick the first
I
one.
was gonna say Offaly. I'm like, not to do. That's rude. And I was gonna say Fermanagh. And then I'm like, is that even real? I'm like, yes, it is.
But it's funny. It's funny that you mentioned that because that is the case, and like I know for myself personally, and I've said this on like podcasts, I've said this talking to people before. The biggest thing I'd love to go back and tell myself is stop trying to be someone that you're not, in terms of going not going against the grain, I guess, and like playing football, because football wasn't really my thing. I was much better at music as a kid, unfortunately, I guess, to an extent. Now I'm not playing. I'm not saying I had a terrible childhood. I had a fucking incredible childhood, but to the extent I didn't pursue a passion that I would have been much better at. And you're right, you need those kind of influences. You need people to pave the way for you in order for that, not only for the I guess the small town or the small county, but for the country itself, to progress and get better. And we certainly are definitely doing that. And lads, ye are. Oh, actually, yeah. Sorry, was your DJ not a DJ before he's now your DJ, Harry?
That's true. We asked. Well, you asked him to DJ for us. He did not own a DJ decks. He was like, yeah, no problem. Said he could DJ, couldn't, learned how, bought a decks, and then showed up to our first gig, and that was his first gig ever. And he's been our DJ since.
Well, there you go. What a success story.
There you go. Follow Harry, man. Just go for stuff, do stuff, say yes to things.
But yeah, lads, as I was saying, yeah, it's great to be talking to yourselves, who, as I said, time and time again, paving the way for incredible artists in Ireland, for part of the hip hop renaissance here. Can't wait to see what you come out with next. For people who mightn't know where you are, where would you direct them to first? Instagram, or would you direct them straight to Spotify, or what? Where would you?
Jump straight onto the Spotify, man. Go nuts.
We need those streams money.
Sweet
We need those
streams.
Back to the streams when you're on. Lads, thank you very much for joining me. I do hope you enjoy yourself. I certainly enjoyed talking to you. Thank you for listening. If you do want to get in touch, Podge the Podcast on Instagram, on all social, or Podge at the podcast.ie, or Podge Henry on all socials. Sorry, not the best at the intro and the outro. After 2 years though, I'm kind of getting there.
The meaty bit in the middle that matters anyway, you know.
Yeah, it's the meaty bit in the middle.
Get
of
the rest, man.
For myself here and Shane and Collaborative Studios, thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.
Europe.